recall getting up around 12:30 in the afternoon. And I spent the time from then until roughly 4 p.m. at the latest, working on the second jack-o'-lantern polystyrene cup drawing. In between doing daily tasks on Queen's Blade Limit Break, and some activities on Elvenar in an effort to make room on make room for one more earth manifestation and one more water manifestation in order to complete this side quest. Though I'm quite a ways away from being able to get another city expansion to be able to move my two, technically they're plank manufactories, but they're primarily used to produce elven tree gum, away from this area where my elemental's settlement is. Around the time from 4 to 6 p.m., I primarily pass the time waiting for the two sheet pizzas Mom got from Mark's Pizzeria to arrive. She ordered it around 4:30 p.m., but requested it be delivered around 5:45 p.m. 5:45 p.m. since the party officially started at 6 p.m. This box is that of the cheese sheet pizza, as well as containing whatever remnants are left of the pepperoni sheet pizza. If I recall, the pepperoni sheet pizza was more popular than the cheese sheet pizza. That birthday cake we got from Wegmans ended up not being terribly popular, at least not these pieces in particular. For some reason, the people at the bakery department at Wegmans forgot to peel off our custom pictures, so I assumed that it was just going to be like last time, where it's just basically imprinted onto the frosting of the cake, but instead it was like an actual picture being on the cake, and there was a thin piece of paper. Though you could still, it was still edible. Though not exactly ideal for you to be eating that. Generally speaking. I wasn't really much of a fan of the cake because there is a tendency for a regular cake like that to make me to at times be too dry for me unless it involves Cool Whip frosting. If it doesn't involve that kind of frosting, it'll give me a sensation of my mouth being dry and be all super sugary for me. The other kind of cake that's preferred for me is ice cream cake, but Mom didn't think to bring that Oreo ice cream cake we had out until very late in the party, which lasted from 6 p.m. to near midnight. It was a party that involved a karaoke host who I helped set up a little by carrying stuff in from his vehicle into our living room. I think around 5 p.m. Other last minute preparations on my part included pouring in the two 2-liter bottles of Mountain Dew Code Red into the container that had the plastic eyes floating in it. During the party, Mountain Dew Code Red was my most common beverage. My most common food while I was at the party involved this cheese mix of munchies with cheese Cheetos, crunchy Cheetos, with cheddar, Sun Chips, and pretzels. and I would very frequently dip those munchies in salsa con queso from the Tostitos brand. Though I did have some candy, of which my most common involved a white chocolate Reese's Pieces cup from that candy holder that was shaped like a knight's head armor. And it was stylized like one too. I didn't eat any crackers or any of the cheese and pepperoni tray during the party. In between me singing karaoke songs, of which I sang a total of 6, of which the first was Suddenly Seymour by Ashman Howard, then a double turn in which I first did Black Sun by Def Cab for Cutie, and then the karaoke host had me stay to do Yellow by Coldplay, since that's one of my best songs. Then I did Oobla Dee Oobla Da by the Beatles, then Lean on Me by Bill Withers, and then finally I did It's Now or Never by Elvis Presley. When I sing karaoke, I have a tendency to prefer slow tempo songs, since they give me time to kind of, in a way, mimic the singer, the original singer. The feel of the song and its music, rather than for faster paced songs, potentially struggling to keep up with the lyrics. In between me singing, I would spend the majority of my time looking for opportunities for me to vlog the party, since lately I've not been actually vlogging events as they happen for my channel, and I figured that I should come back to doing that for my 23rd birthday party. And I also took pictures of the decorations for the party, which were, the vast majority of them were Halloween themed. This was sort of a Halloween themed party that also celebrated my birthday, since the two are pretty close to each other. In which we also had someone host karaoke. Since that's something Mom and her friends like to do. I have no idea if that over there, that bowl of chips, if they're the lightly salted Lay's chips or the dill pickle Lay's chips, because they looked so similar to each other, and as a result, you could only really tell them apart by their relation to the bowl that had the cheese mix munchies in it. If I recall correctly, both bowls were in front of the cheese mix munchies bowl. All three of those bowls looked the same. Though I recall the lightly salted bowl being slightly to the left of the munchies bowl, and thus closer to this door, and the dill pickle being slightly to the right of the cheese munchies bowl, and thus further from that door I just showed. Yeah, I generally didn't want to blog while somebody else was singing karaoke, since I figure that would be harder for Google's Content ID system to pick up the copyrighted music and protect me from having the 23rd birthday party video I was making raw clips for from getting copyright struck in the future when I upload it to my YouTube channel. I'm hoping for copyright music in its original form played through our living room TV. That way I'll get an automatic copyright claim through the Content ID system. And be protected from potentially being copyright struck in the future if the Content ID system doesn't detect the instrumental, essentially the instrumental version of a copyrighted song with someone essentially doing a cover of it. Though in this case, I did make an exception for two songs in which I sung it, or actually it was 3 songs, but I'm hoping that it'll still be fine. And with everything that went on tonight, and because I want to be able to film these things in peace and hopefully not get either a copyright claim on it or some sensitive conversation by someone else on it, I decided to postpone both opening my gifts and having the Oreo ice cream cake to tomorrow. And yeah, one of the last minute preparations I helped with was me getting an idea of putting essentially our chips into separate plastic bowls rather than just leaving them in their bags. That way it would look more like a party, at least to me. Mom washed those 3 plastic bowls, and then I used technically 2 squares of paper towel to dry them, though the squares were shaped like rectangles. And then I dumped the chips in, getting any little crumbs that happened to remain after I essentially shook the bag down. I also brought out our attempt at a spooky chocolate cookie house out from a large Ziploc bag onto a sort of plastic plate, which eventually ended up being right next to where the party favors were in our living room. Initially placed that plate on one of the corners of our piano counter. And Mom ended up moving it because she had concerns about getting crumbs into the mechanism of our piano, which is understandable. All that really matters is that our attempt at a cookie house is presented. It was part of our efforts for the party. All things considered, it went pretty well. I only really had alcohol to try things, such as the Jello shots one of the party goers brought, as well as trying the hippie juice, a recipe for alcoholic punch that Mom made right before the party started. Well, actually, kind of right before the karaoke host arrived at 5 p.m. At least the prepping the frozen fruit part. I poured in the 2 liters, the 2-liter bottle of pink lemonade, one of the bottles. The other 2 bottles were used to make the hippie juice towards right before the party started. Poured in the pink lemonade as a sort of alcohol-free version. Option, along with the Mountain Dew Code Red. The hippie juice was made kind of right before the party started, and when Dad arrived, initially just to stop by and visit, we had to have him bring over a bag of ice because our ice maker ended up making ice slower than we expected. And then he ended up staying considerably longer than he initially planned, so I had him help me film the majority of the raw video files for my vlog for the 23rd birthday party. The 2-sheet pizzas from Mark's Pizzeria came to roughly $65, though Mom had me give the person who delivered it $75 in order to give a tip that's double the tax, which is one of the general rules when it comes to tipping. Primarily my waking up in the afternoon, combined with everything that ended up happening involving the party, I ended up forgetting to upload the November 3rd, my dinner video, at the optimal time, which for that day happened to be at around 6 p.m. at the time the party ended up starting, but by that point I hadn't made the LiQWYD video project for November 3rd.